There was somebody debating online about two things: the Moors and the Egyptians, or the Kemetics. Now, this is where a very intelligent person, or let me rephrase that. This is where an intelligent, educated person can see things that other people see, and because they assume that the other person is intelligent, that wrote it, that is true. But here's the thing about it. When you assume somebody is intelligent and you haven't investigated their level of intelligence, then you carry on their ignorance. So again, the Moors and the Egyptians, this is how simple it is. If you go online and look it up, the best example I can give you is when they talk about Moors. You know, brothers are online talking about the Moorish people, always black, right? But if you read certain documents, it says they weren't black. They were partly a mix of all kind of stuff, right? And at some point they were, right? Because what happens is, because of their religion, people started to integrate into them, but they were black. Now, you say, well, Mr. Reed, how do you know this? I know this because I've done a deep dive study. But this is how you would know it if you're an intelligent person and you're reading. You have to realize that everything that was written by any European connected or associated or Western or white person is always bent to their perspective. Let me make it simple for you. When you read this, even in the most general terms, when you look it up or ask Siri, who were the Moors, there is always an entrance of a European. Literally, when you read about the Moors, it inferences that the Europeans conjecturalized that the Arabs, these people, and these people were all Moors. Now, history doesn't show that. But if you're not a learned person, in other words, if you live in circular reasoning where you always assume every book you read from white people is not bent toward them, then you'll always be wrong. You can find the most well-educated person. They won't look at the conjecturalism. Let me give you to the Kemetic people. You do know the history of Egypt based on what Western people say started when they were recognized by the Greeks. Hence the name Egypt, which is a Greek word. After that, they conjured them up with the Arabs. See, what we miss is this, and I don't think you guys recognize, the Arabs are just as racist as white people. That's why their religion is so preeminent. But when you hear, brother, oh, we got Islam. Okay, well. But Kemet was all black people. When I say black people, I'm talking about us. If we want to talk about the pyramids and how we do this, okay, let me ask you a question. Why is it that the only people that know what pyramids are in Sudanese countries? And did you know there were over 200 pyramids in Sudan? There are pyramids all over the deepest, darkest parts of Africa. You didn't know that. They don't want you to know. So wouldn't it make sense that if other dark people, dark-called, beautiful Sudanese people, could build pyramids, that the ones in Egypt could? And nobody is kin to anybody in those tombs. That's the biggest part. Nobody. Like the Arabs that lived there who conquered and lived there. Don't know anybody. And they hadn't moved, they had gone anywhere. But they're no relation to them people. You have to be careful what you believe coming out of the books that we read. We speak a language that's not ours. We eat food that isn't ours. One of the things Dr. Sebi that said that was true, I don't eat white folks' food no more. I don't believe in what they say. Look, I don't know one black man with skin cancer. Not one. We weren't meant to eat this food. We weren't meant to, we don't eat meat. Bruh, stop being stupid. All over Africa, people eat meat. But we're not supposed to eat meat? Come on, man.
Now, this is something they never tell you. There are more pyramids in Sudan than Egypt, like a lot more, over 200. And yet, crickets. No documentaries, no textbooks, no tours. Why? These pyramids are smaller but sharper. Perfect angles, perfect alignments, built by the Kingdom of Kush, way down the Nile. Some even say they're older than Egypt's. But here's the wild part. Sudan's pyramids have carvings, symbols, star maps, some that match Mesopotamia and even Mesoamerica. So how do cultures thousands of miles apart share the same sacred geometry? It's like they had a blueprint, like they were but Sudan doesn't get the spotlight. Egypt does, because Egypt's story is polished, packaged. It fits the timeline they want to tell. The pyramids of Nubia sit untouched, covered in sand, surrounded by silence. Why aren't we digging there? Why aren't we studying that? Unless they don't want us connecting the dots. Because if the pyramids weren't just Egyptian, if they were part of a global system, then everything changes. Dude, what else are we missing?
You are looking at the Nubian pyramids of Meroe. They are not located in Egypt, but in Bajrawiya, North Sudan. This hidden gem is so rarely visited that even my Sudanese friends were visiting for the first time with me back in January 2023. These steeply angled pyramids are the tombs of the legendary kings and queens of the Kingdom of Kush, more distinctly known as the realm of the Black Pharaohs. They were Egypt's 25th dynasty, resonating power and mystery from the heart of the Nile Valley. The pyramids you see here stand in what was once the city of Meroe, which became Kush's third and last capital starting around 590 BCE. The kingdom then thrived until 350 CE before declining due to factors like the Aksumite invasion, shifting trade routes, and desertification. In case you're wondering why the pyramids are ruined, that's because an Italian piece of shit desecrated the site by blowing up 40 pyramids to steal their treasures back in the 1800s. To this day, we are not sure what was found and further investigations should be encouraged. Although it seems ruined and forgotten, there's still hope to learn more about this enigmatic culture. As their still undeciphered text, the Meroitic script remains a tantalizing link to their rich and complex history. And amid the current conflict engulfing present-day North Sudan, it's crucial to remember the irreplaceable heritage at stake. The Meroe pyramids are majestic testaments to human creativity. So let's pray for a brighter and more peaceful future for Sudan.
Shall we talk about the real conspiracy and how the Sudan has more pyramids than any other place on the planet? No, they don't want you to know about that. They don't want you to know that everything that's in what we call Egypt, traditions, religions, art, technology, all that came from the Sudan, Kemet, aka Kush, black peoples that created these pyramids to be final vessels, resting places for their dead kings and queens. You guys got to do more studying because they bury things under things and then bury those things under more things to keep the real knowledge from you.
To the Western mind, religion is the deification of his culture and his desire for power. The Arabs made Islam a rationale for the slave trade. The Jews made Judaism a rationale for taking land that never belonged to them, not even in ancient times. The European made Christianity a rationale for his prejudice and his enslavement of other people. He never dared to use it in a Christian way. And I'm saying that this is a carbon copy and a debasement of the original. I'm not trying to take it away from you. I'm trying to show you the original copy as against the carbon copy. Now, the carbon copy might frighten you because you're so accustomed, the original copy might frighten you because you're so accustomed to the carbon copy, it might be a little hard for you to take. But all of these religions existed in another form before someone called them by these new names. Now, someone brought up in class last night that Islam came out of Africa. And I said, yes, the elements came out of Africa. But the religion in its formal sense is an AD religion and not a BC religion. Because you cannot bring me in Islam before you bring me the Prophet Muhammad. And the Prophet Muhammad wasn't even born until near the end of the 6th century. Now, if you bring me in Islam before you bring me the Prophet Muhammad, you have to tell me where you got it from. If you say the elements that ultimately made the religion existed, I'll accept that. But you said the religion was there, then I'm going to ask some questions. What are you talking about? Then if you say like some of the brothers in Manhattan, our religion started, God made the first Muslim, his name was Adam, then I have to tell you, when did Adam read the Quran before everybody wrote one?